Hey everybody, welcome back to the ToolScouter shop. We've got a little dress-up project maybe. My dad has had this, I've known he's had this sharpening stone for years. I'm not sure where he got it. I don't know if he got it from my grandfather or not. I just don't know. But it is a very high grit, probably from my research, probably a 10,000 grit stone. And it's got this little box that needs a little bit of help. But one of the things is I've always liked the stone. The one thing about it is it's not flat. Whoever's had it has used pocket knives on it and things like that, and that's fine, but it needs to be flat if you're going to use a chisel to dress up a chisel on this. And so recently I have begun to invest in these diamond plates, and I have a diamond plate here that I'm going to use to redress this surface of this sharpening stone. So why don't you come along and let's check this out. All right, so what's the most important thing here is to make sure that your stone is really flat if you're going to use it for chisels and things like that. The the thing about some of the research I've been doing, some people will use water, some people will use oil, some people even use WD-40, but from what I understand from some of my research, the WD-40, the particles in WD-40 are actually thicker than the particles on this 1200 grit stone. So the particles actually help the tool to ride on top of and above those little diamond stones instead of letting it sit down there flat. So what's best to use is a lapping fluid. Now this lapping fluid is not cheap, and it is a smaller, the little particles in it are smaller than all the particles. It would not be important so much on this 400 grit. I could probably use WD-40 and it would be fine because these particles are bigger than the particles in the lapping fluid. But you really, from what I understand, you shouldn't use water or anything like that because water will cause your steel plates to eventually rust. So initially I thought it would be a good idea to buy a spray bottle and be able to spray on here. The thing is this lapping fluid is a petroleum product, and I'm afraid it might be eating up my plastic, especially in my pump. So we'll see if this is going to work or not. See, it pumps, but it doesn't want to spring back. So this might not be my best bet. Might not have been such a smart idea. So I might put it back in to that bottle. Now it could also be that I've bought a very cheap sprayer here, and for that reason it's not wanting to work. So that could very well be. But to have it back in the bottle here, I've already got it saturated on the stone. Now we're going to take our stone that we want to, keep calling that stone, our plate, our steel plate, and we're going to want to redress this whole surface on here. I think you can kind of see there the difference between this and this, and I'm going to have to keep going to get this so that it's all the same flatness. One thing I did do to this, for those of you who are interested and who may try this, one thing you got to be careful of, and there are different qualities of diamonds, and I probably got the cheaper ones, but if those diamond particles start to chip off, they're so hard that they can embed themselves into the softer stone. So it's good initially to take a chisel. I took the back of this chisel right here and I ran it all over the surface so that any particles that might come off will come off initially, and then once that has been, I guess, knocked down, you could say, now it should be safe to be able to use on the stone without getting particles to embed in that stone. Because the truth is, the particles in the stone are much smaller, much finer than the particles in the plate, at least this 400 grit. So I think this is about a 10,000 grit stone. Tell you what, except for a little spot right down in there, I don't know if you can see that in the video. It looks like there's a little gouge right there. Other than that, that all looks very even. So I don't know, I might try just a little bit more, but everything looks very even on that stone right now. So I don't know how much more I really need to go. All right, friends, I think that looks just about as straight as you're going to get it. I like it. That looks nice. All right, we should be able to, and again, this is not going to be for what do you call it? Reprofiling a chisel. It's just for the final sharpening, and you could sharpen a knife on it. You just have to bring it over here to the sharpening stone every so often, or the plate, the diamond plate, to get it all nice and straight. Well, I was able to glue it here. This box was coming apart here. The sanding didn't do much. It's just full of grease and oil and probably some ground in dirt. But it's smooth right now. I don't think I'm going to take it down because I intend to use it. I'll probably will use oil on this, but it'll probably might be that lapping fluid that I'll use on there, since the particles are so small in the stone. But it's been brought back dressed up so that it can be quite useful. Now, because this is a petroleum product, I'm going to treat this like all the rest of my greasy rags and make sure I let it dry out really well. I put it in a metal can just in case it should spontaneously combust. It's one of the things that are very dangerous about linseed oils and grease and oily rags, gasoline soaked rags, is that they can heat up and just spontaneously combust and burn your whole shop down. One of you guys, I can't remember what video it was some time back, but one of you guys, in fact several of you maybe, but one in particular, introduced himself as a fireman and said that it's a good idea to always be very cautious with your oily rags, because he responded to an incident one time and the whole shop burned down because of some rags that weren't properly thrown away. So I put them in a metal can. I need to get a larger can with a metal lid, just so that if it should start catch fire, that metal lid doesn't let it feed oxygen and it will put it out before it even gets started too big. But the main thing is keeping, I have a coffee can and I put these kinds of things in there. And then when we do a fire in the backyard, I'll take these oily rags and throw them in there so that they'll burn up and we won't have a problem here in the shop. So anyways, guys, hope this was useful. I am very glad to have this stone dressed up now. It doesn't look like much, but it really, I think it is a good quality stone. So we'll be able to put it through its paces here in the shop and keep our tools hair popping sharp. I've got some really neat gouges I picked up at one of the flea markets over here, and I want to get these things cleaned up, and we'll do it for you here on the channel. There's this curved gouge, and it's a Buck Brothers. Then there's this one here that is even a little bit larger, and these were so cool. But look at that edge, it needs a lot of work. And so we'll dress that up and clean it up. And one of the things I wanted to do is make a spoon. So we might try making a spoon with one of these. And then here's the third one. It's also a Buck Brothers. And the handles need help, but some of these have, this one here has a nice little flange on it. The rest of these are missing. So we'll see what we can do. Put some handles on them, clean them up, and do them with you. And this stone will be definitely one of the, right before we go to the strop, we will run these edges on that stone and get them good and sharp. So guys, thanks so much. If you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up. If you know somebody else that might enjoy this, please share the link with them. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. We're always trying to grow the channel, and it's great to have more of you from this community come and join the channel and share. I really learn a lot from you guys when you guys share different things. And in fact, I'm going to cut the video here right now because I want to show you something that I was really grateful for a couple of you on the last video to show me. So give me just a minute. I don't know how many of you saw this video here of these reflectors, these road reflectors that you can keep in your vehicle, and they will set up so that you can set them on the road and people will see that you're there. And there was a little part in here that I didn't know what it was for, and several of you guys came through and said, oh, I know what that's for. And it's this little metal clip with the double hooks. Turns out that is to hold, whoa, these little spring-loaded arms. These little spring-loaded arms are what are mounted on the side of these, which go right here. Hopefully you can see that there. And those spring-loaded arms have that spring. You can put your flag on here. And so this little clip, several of you let me know, this little clip is to bend those springs and put each one of those ends into that clip, and it helps hold it all together. So when you're packing it back in there, everything will hold nicely. So put that in there, one of your flags, put that in there, one of your flags, and that keeps them from bumping and scratching together. Put that there. We've got this flag that we can now fold up, put in its place, and looky there, everything tucked away. So thank you guys for sharing that with me. Like I said, this community is just great. If you'd like to see the video about those reflectors, I'll try to put that in the description. Until next time, this is to you guys. Have a great day. God bless.